Hey guys, today we're doing a quick video on how to tie a yarn egg fly. So as you guys probably know, it's spring, and with spring comes the steelhead runs on the North Shore, and so being from Minnesota, we like to fish for these steelhead quite a bit. So this is just a brief video showing you guys how I like to tie my yarn eggs. They're pretty simple, probably one of the easiest flies to make, and hope you guys find this helpful. Thank you. So the first step when tying any fly really is selecting your hook and putting it on the vise. So with these egg flies, I like to use usually a size 6 or 8 hook. And at most of your fly shops, they'll sell flies specifically designed for egg flies or similar type variants of these flies. So I'm using a size 6 hook. Hopefully you can see that there. First thing we're going to do here is lay down some thread on our hook. So I'm just going to start it off nice and wrap it down the shank of the hook, keeping it fairly tight. You want it to be pretty neat. Just trim off the tag end. Next step here is we're going to select our egg yarn. So for this fly, I'll probably just be using this pink, what is it? Hair McFly foam, designed specifically for these steelhead egg flies. So this is just what this one looks like. So the first thing we're going to do is I like to take about an inch or two of the yarn and just trim it off. It doesn't have to be a terribly thick clump. I mean, it depending on how thick and dense you want your egg fly, you can take more or less. But I find this usually suffices pretty well, so we're just gonna spread it out a little bit. Sometimes I like to just put a little twist in it, give yourself a nice area to really lay down a couple really tight loops, just like so. Okay, so once that's fairly snug, then I like to just run a couple like that, just to really secure that egg yarn right there. So once we've done this, we're going to go ahead and whip finish our fly. So I'm just going to take it like so, maybe do 4 or 5 of them. Trim off your tag end, and that will be the basis for our next step. So actually, before we get to trimming the actual egg part of the fly, I like to use a little bit of either this hard head works fine, or if you use just a normal head cement, just to give your thread a little bit of support so it doesn't come off. Just kind of get it nice and soaked through so it'll start to dry. You can just give it a second, maybe blow on it a little bit. So that'll give us a fairly strong base for tying our egg fly. So now what I like to do is I'm going to pull straight up on the egg yarn, and I'm going to twist it while doing this simultaneously. Be careful not to create too much pressure, or you will actually end up breaking off this foam. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut pretty simple, straight across, kind of angle it a tiny bit. Once you have this, you can really just fluff it out, move it around the shank of the hook, get it so it's nice and even, take some looks at it. And then what we're going to go through and do is just trim off some of the uneven parts and just try and make it as round as possible. So this can be probably one of the most difficult parts, getting a perfectly round yarn egg. Now, I've found from my own experience that steelhead don't really care if it's perfectly round or not, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just make sure that it looks somewhat like an egg. And if you want to tie different variants of the egg fly, you can always mix and match colors too. Take a couple strands of each type of McFly foam and just combine them together, and you will get You can create clown eggs, you can create all sorts of stuff. They also make different colors, like a lot of what I use is orange, but pink also works well. In dirtier water, those clown eggs tend to be really good, but sometimes I'll just mix a couple colors together like this. This is just a tag in from a previous fly, but that's about it. And oh yeah, the thread I'm using here is a 140 denier, I think. So not too strong, but not too weak. Because sometimes when you're wrenching on that fly, pulling it upwards, you really want it to get, you want some strength in your thread, so you can really get that down. But yeah, leave a comment below, let me know what you think. If you want me to do more egg tying videos, just let me know, and I'll try and make some more. Or other flies, any requests. That's great. Thank you.